Ben, the good die young. Well, what the fuck that mean? You're gonna live forever. I was like, you fucked up, Mom. Why would you say that shit? I don't know what the future holds, and there's anxiety there no matter how much confidence I have. Too much confidence, obviously, oversights happen, right? Mm-hmm. I know now it's always best to take the high road. Tell the truth. Take the high road. It clicked at a certain point that, let me turn the money down. Let me go after a bigger cause. I'm almost guaranteed I feel like the money will come in a different way.
And it's not there's no blame in it to me. It's just the nature of what happened with technology and internet.
Letting myself lose a rook, a pawn, but making sure the queen got that check and checkmate, whether it took 2 years or 10 years, that was the most rewarding thing of my life lessons. I looked them dead in the eye. I said, I would die for you guys. And this is when I knew I have succeeded as a father.
Welcome to Profits and Process. I'm your host, Ryan Grant, and today's episode won't be challenging for me, but it'll be interesting because it's with a friend of mine that is one of the most fascinating people that I know, because he is known in the world as one thing and has won awards and all the accolades, but I know him as kind of this, I guess, a Renaissance man, but I don't really know if that's even a phrase. He's just been involved in so many spaces. And to watch him now be focused on the things and priorities and what his world looks like, it's very different. And I'm appreciative because I've watched him grow. I've watched him just
transform, man.
Yeah, literally just like transform like almost night and day from how we met originally. And I'm proud. I'm curious because I don't get a chance to usually our conversations are kind of on the fly just because of our lifestyles. And I'm looking forward to learning about this man, Ben Baller.
Thank you for having me on, man.
So appreciate you, brother, man. All right. So we like to do 2 icebreakers where we ask everybody to bring a book. So put a book down, or not bring a book, but pull a book from the bookshelf. But what'd you pull down?
Pulled Cornel West, A Critical Reader.
Why?
The first time, so again, I could never tell a story just for a yes and no.
There you go.
It's like a bad thing when you're in court. Your attorney's like, you tell too much of the truth, just say yes or no. A buddy of mine I met over 20 years ago, found out that he actually had a law degree and he actually passed the bar and everything. He was an attorney, but he ended up being somewhat of a famous actor. With that said, he was Barack Obama's roommate, and me and him became real close. His name is Hill Harper, actor. Now he's actually running for Congress or government state in Detroit. And he had a TV show pilot called The Hill Harper Show. I was his DJ on the show. I used to be a famous DJ. And we actually met in a nightclub, and it was just kind of interesting. But when he told me he went to Harvard Law School, I was interested in black people going into, I was always been fascinated by black culture. Because I grew up around blacks and Jews most of my life. I didn't really, I embraced my heritage of being Korean, but we didn't share the same interests. Sure. So I heard his name for the first time then. I watched an episode on Bill Maher, was like, yo, this dude is fascinating. He's forget, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like articulate is like an understatement, right? Yeah. He was just so well spoken. And then I thought, okay, well, damn, he's a little radical, a little bit. He's an independent, not necessarily left, right, but he calls shit out. He's like a younger, cooler, maybe Bernie Sanders in a way, but like more hardcore. And like there was this famous song by Blueface called Tatiana. And I guess he was teaching a class at Harvard. And at the end of the year, they celebrated and they started playing Tatiana. And he started dancing. And it was like funny. It was just a funny video. But the more and more I heard about Cornel West, I was intrigued about his upbringing, just where he was. And it was obviously way before him running for presidency now. Yeah. And I just thought he was an interesting dude. So I've always been very fond of him. And My dad was a pastor and minister, so I was forced to go to church more than just once, and I hated going to church. And my mom was Buddhist. So when I seen the Holy Bible section, I was like, yeah, dog, I don't want to see that. And we're just going through things and self-help, whatever. And it just caught my eye. I was like, hey, man, let me grab this Cornell West book. And, can we cuss?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, I fuck with dude. I fuck with him
Word.
heavy. Everything,
Yeah,
but for the most part, I like the way he debates.
He's paying attention, and he's always been, I think,
Yeah.
a voice for some
But
of
not
the-
just even on the political
Yeah,
or
yeah,
on the
no,
black issues.
Absolutely, he's just paying attention.
I mean, he jumped on Stephen A. Smith's show, and it was a brilliant interview.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I respect this brother. So that's why I chose the book.
Bet I appreciate that. I didn't realize that that your mother was Buddhist.
Yeah.
All right, the next I like to bring in, if I do have a personal story, how we actually met. Is actually really funny because we didn't actually meet.
Jesus.
We had a mutual, at the time we'd say an associate friend.
I thought he was a friend.
Yeah. I did too, to a degree. And I'm actually in LA, and I am. Well, I don't know was it around it was around like the Grammys or something. But anyway, I was in LA.
It was 2008.
He keeps telling me, like, yo, we have to. He's like, man, we got to link with my homie Ben. We got to look with my homie Ben. And we're going to go to this club. We're going to do it up big. And anybody who knows me, I'm not a heavy clubber, not a heavy, nah. I'm anti-baller flash. So he tells me, yo, you got to meet this dude, Ben Ball.
I was told the total opposite.
Yeah.
I was told this dude was the mega flexer. And me and his brother already been friends for a year or so. And we get very close. Rest in peace to my brother. And he doesn't drink either, but he'll turn up in a club. It was a very different. They were very
absolutely.
Yeah. So go on.
So we get to this club, and I remember you were sick, and you kept saying like, "Yo, I really apologize. Like, I'm banged up, man. I got this heavy cold. Like, I can't breathe, whatever." And so in the club, he kept trying to get me. I'm not even gonna say his name, but he kept trying to get me to like order all this stuff. And he's like, "Yo, you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm cool, man. Just chill. Like, relax. It's all good." So when I end up the next day talking to you, I'm like, yeah, so it ended up being a crazy night because the way my man acted, like he tried to like leave one of the shorties at the club, like that we had come with, like all this stuff, whatever. It was crazy. And you're like, yo, you know what he was telling me, son? He telling me that you were flashy the whole night. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, son, he told me that you shut the whole club down because you told them to bring out 150 bottles of water. I'm like,
well, no, what he said was the table minimum. And in LA,
oh yeah, the thousands.
So the table minimum usually, depending on where you're sitting, could be like 3,000, 5,000 if you're sitting in the corner where no one can see you. But if you're on the main stage, it could be upwards of like 5, 10, 20 grand.
Okay.
So he said, "Yo, man, RG said, oh, I don't really drink, man. So you know what I'm gonna do? Yeah, man, just go ahead and charge $10,000-$15,000 in water." So he had them. First of all, no nightclub in the country is gonna have $20,000 bottle of Fiji or Evian. But he said Ryan made them bring a pallet, and now the table
water
is filled with several hundreds of bottles of water to cover that minimum.
Now there's some G shit, but why the fuck would I do that?
I don't know, bro. So maybe me not want to.
I literally remember you saying it made you not want to meet me because you were like, "Yo, I be on some dickhead shit."
Yeah.
But damn, yo.
So I avoided you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you avoided me until we actually met, and you were like, "Oh, yo, you ain't like that at all. What the fuck?" And then we found out that the dude was a fucking scam artist.
Well, he was running an enormous Ponzi scheme. He had scammed a lot of people that I knew, and it was unfortunate. The things that I cherished then was, well, one, I've always been a football fan. I know you had to play for the Giants. I was a big Lawrence Taylor fan back in the day. So, that intrigued me. And then you didn't know until later, and I think that even you breaking the ice with this conversation brought you guys a little cooler because that's how tight me and him were. But me and Charles Woodson been friends for a while.
You did. You told me about that.
And you told me, he's like, hey, bro, he go to practice, don't talk to nobody. And then you told me you would like saw him on a water break or something. And when he heard my name, he was like, because that's a name you wouldn't just bring up, right? And not end up y'all being cool. But like, I was reluctant. I love Nedick, man. He was so brilliant, so fascinating. Even the things just the way he broke down hip hop and like just just how he was so amazing. Just when you think about like not even in that what was the word? It wasn't Afrocentric. It was neo hip hop when like Jay Dilla era, like the Soul Aquarium type things,
Yeah.
when when Slum Village and like music and Erykah Badu and that whole sound, and your brother was fully all about that, and it was just he was a different type of thing, but he also respected what Lil Wayne was doing, and he respected lyricism. So I had been so cool with Nedick that I was like, look, man, I gotta eventually just connect with RG. When I found out y'all was total opposites, and like you was like a really chill dude, you wasn't the type to like, and the funny thing was one of your cars was that Platinum Motorsport,
Yeah.
and I was like, and again, I had not got to really get the full experience of you. So I'm like, okay, this is a very specific color. These are this is a very bespoke wheel being made. Yeah, this guy's fucking crazy. This guy ain't no regular ass dude. I didn't know you had,
Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that about me. Dad.
Yeah, for the cars, you were like that. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were totally a different person.
I used to be like a subtle fuck you with the cars.
Right.
I used to like,
right.
I would have one thing about my car was going to be like, ooh.
Yeah.
Don't think that I can't floss on your ass.
No, I know.
Yeah. So I'm subtle in that aspect, and I think that's where there's a connection that I could have. I listen, aspects of your life, I used to be like, yeah, this shit is crazy. But at the end of the day, I really did. I could see right away. It's like, yo, you were a good dude. And that's what really the root of all that shit. Like everybody who me and my brother fuck with, they're good people. And in it's totally different things, could be in different genres, different lifestyles, but it all comes back to
who I was on the internet was who I not at all was to the circle of people I actually embraced.
Word. And that's literally like where I want to transition, because I always ask people when we start off with, like, what do you do? Because for me, you were known as, and how do you even identify with that right now in regards to like, what do you do? Because the world knows you as one thing, but what would you say? What do you do, Ben Baller?
I think in short, the easiest thing to say is I'm an entrepreneur. But when 3 or 4 organizations like the Unforgettable Gala, that's it's the only real certified Asian American awards. They had described me as a modern day Renaissance man. I thought that was a little hard. I thought that was a little too above. No one ever sees me as Ben Humble. I'm Ben Baller, right? And then an editor of a magazine said he is really a modern day Renaissance man. And other people who were very powerful CEOs of big streetwear brands that were worth 9 figures, they had said that. So I said, look, I think maybe that could be right. Who am I today? I don't want to sound corny. I'm a father to 3 kids, and I'm a great provider. But and then / all right, well, I guess I'm a jeweler. Put away the highest possible award you can get for that. I guess I am a podcaster. Globally ranked 16 different countries. I'm in the top 50, top 100. At one point, I was number 1. I'm number 1 in Botswana. I've never been to Botswana, bro. I've been to 47 countries in my life. Right? I consider myself a worldly person.
Botswana now.
Yeah, I got to. I'm a father. I'm a businessman. And I think jewelry is going to be something I need to get back to. Not unfortunately, it's just I think I lost the fire and passion to it, and I decided to focus into my 4th career now as a golfer.
I was just about to say, don't leave that off, boss.
And the golf thing, never in a million years did I realize. Schoolboy Q, man, he said something, and I was like, yo, it's one thing to see Tiger Woods, one thing to see someone here. I can't relate to someone from Atlanta that's black playing golf. I can't relate to Tiger to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Schoolboy Q's from one of the hardest hoods in LA. And he got into golf years and years ago. And I was like, golf, really? And he said something to me. He's like, hey, bro, you're going to learn a lot about yourself when you're on a golf course. Because one, you ask the top 3 professional athletes outside of golf, and I mean the greatest, whether it be Michael Jordan, Michael Phelps, one of the people, and they'll tell you, thank God I never played golf because it's the hardest game in the world, right? There's so much integrity. If you lie about where your ball ended up, even kicking it 2 inches for a better lie, whatever it may
Yeah.
be. It's about integrity. And lying on a golf course is just lying to yourself.
Right.
And I was like, what do you mean? And then during this time of my, divorce, I played a lot of golf by myself. I pushed a lot of people that love me and that I love away from me because I wasn't ready to have those conversations. And you get on a golf course and you start realizing nobody, even if you're worth playing with a team, whatever, nobody's there to save you. You are there by yourself. And I started realizing how many parallels there were with life and golf. It's crazy. Like the front nine, 18 holes in a round of golf. Front nine is the first nine, the back nine. And I started realizing no matter how much I mess up on the front, I always make it up on the back. That's the harder part for most people. And I have so many different, nicknames, right? But like back nine Ben, and I was like, look, I got good really, and it's hard to say that. People really hate that because there's 69 million golfers in the world. And 90% of them.
Was your Ben Baller?
But I'm saying 90% of the golfers. But remember, I'm almost 51, and I started golf at 49. So think, people have been playing all their lives, never broke 100. People have been playing all their lives, never broke 80. The chances.
So what do you attribute that to? In the sense that you got good really fast? Is it because you were playing? Is it because?
I think that I found a little bit of the athleticism. I did the dedication. I lost 50 pounds, walking a course, doing 7, 6, or 8 miles of walking. I realized I was gassed out. I needed to figure this out. How are 65, 80-year-old white men, playing this game and crushing the ball? And it was about strategy. It was about a lot of things. It really did determine. It was like chess and tennis, baseball, basketball, football. It was so many different things put into one, but it was hitting a golf club. There's nothing natural about swinging a golf club. There's no golf muscle memory unless you've played for 15, 20 years on a competitive level, because once you take off, it's not like riding a bicycle. You don't just get back on and play. Like you will shank, you will hit bad balls. And I think I learned I had some great people behind me, some of the greatest ever. My agent is Tiger Woods' agent. To give some context, I was the second non-professional athlete to sign with XL Sports Management. XL Sports Management represents Tiger Woods, Peyton Manning, Derek Jeter on a high-end level, right? Then they represent Jokic and, Jamal Murray and just countless, Justin Herbert. So many amazing athletes, not even teenagers that are getting $8 million NIL deals in all their place. And yet, here is a jeweler getting a deal. So for 3 years of being with them, they never even brought up golf to me. Once I decided to find a love into it, George Lopez put the clubs in my hand pretty much. I get a coach. I'm like, wow. Then I realized the power of having access. And people say, oh, you have privilege of this. No, bro. I take advantage of a situation.
Yeah, and I think that, like, clearly you've done a phenomenal job with that. And I want to ask, when you step into these new spaces, are you trying to step in, even though you're Ben Baller, but are you trying to step in with everything that you've done before? Or are you trying to step in as like, no, like, give me an opportunity to just kind of recreate myself?
All right. It's interesting you said that because I've never even thought about this until this moment right now. All my life since I was a young kid, I've been fascinated with cars and music. Never wanted to be an actor, never wanted to be famous. But I was in part of every element of hip-hop, whether it be breakdancing, graffiti, not necessarily the emceeing part, but DJing, like all the elements of hip-hop. So I knew music was going to be my calling. But I love sports, and, I ended up being good in sports. I just didn't have the genetic build to make it to the NFL or NBA.
Yeah.
I haven't tried semi-pro basketball, but that enabled me to, I was great at networking and meeting people. Music was something that was my calling. I felt like that was something, I was going to do. I did it professionally, right? I was vice president of 2 major record labels. Worked with Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, Tupac, Ice Cube, you name it, down the line, Master P. But then I realized how much I hated the business of it. The business of it put such a bad taste in my mouth that I almost didn't like music anymore, except for a certain era, like the classics and stuff, right? And I just began to. So searching for a new career, jewelry sort of fell in my lap, and I went in there with zero expectations, but like, all right, well, maybe this make me some money. It's crazy that I think 18 and a half years, almost 19 years later, that I'd be one of the biggest jewelers on the earth. At one point, the biggest jeweler on the world, right? And there's millions of jewelers. Competition is crazy. Now with golf, I came in thinking, hey, maybe I can make some money on this, but that wasn't my intention again.
Yeah.
I also wasn't my intention to make it a career or anything like that.
Yeah, when you first told me,
Yeah.
it was literally on some like, yeah, man, I'm like playing golf now, and I thought it was. I'll be honest with you, I thought it was just on some like, yo, pastime. You know what I mean? Just things that you just
Yeah, midlife
giving
crisis,
to yourself.
whatever.
Yeah, you just giving to yourself at this point.
But I fell in love with it. And the competitive part of my life came back into me. That drive, that fire was in me. And I was like, yo, I could legitimately, with my platform, with my resources,
Yeah.
I could change the landscape of this game, remove the stigma of this being an old racist white person's game, bring in new golfers, bring in people from the hood, bring in Koreans are already playing like crazy, but that's not who I resonate with.
Yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah.
though they look up to me, I was like, we need to bring this to the hood, and golf is expensive. If we could overcome that hurdle, that obstacle, and bring access to golf in the hood, man, look, you'd be surprised what these kids might be able to do. And I just said, let's grow the game and remove the stigma. And so that's my life's journey right now.
Shit, that's beautiful, dog. Because especially when you look at the amount of people, golf is one of the largest growing sports in regards to
17,000% in the last 2 years of interest.
Yeah, and I think it is. It is one of those things that when you talk about, I can see their passion when you talk about it, but when you reference the integrity of the sport, that's not really what people are thinking. You know what I mean? Like from an imagery aspect, some people are thinking it's boring, but I do know that when people are on the golf course, number one, if you're playing with people, you're building relationships, and that's one of the first things you've had, and you're learning about your frustrations. You're learning about, because I will say, I'm not a golfer in any capacity, but yes, it has the capacity to be a very frustrating sport. And
I've quit 100 times.
Yeah, what you do with that actually speaks a lot to yourself, in my opinion. And it's dope to hear you speak about something as passionate, because even when I met you, you've always been, your relationship with jewelry to me was more of a, this is lifestyle and career, but it wasn't something you spoke about passionately. It was something you did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, even when I won Jeweler of the Year, which most of these people on Instagram that you see, 99.9% of them, they weren't even nominated, right? And you got the big jewelry houses like De Beers, multi-billions, Tiffany, Van Cleef, Cartier, you name it,
Because
whatever.
I don't mean to cut you off, but there is a difference between, in the jewelry world, and especially in the culture, between being a quality, really high-end jeweler and then being seen as a dope jeweler. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Right?
But the thing was, I knew at that point, all right, I've done all the rappers here and there. I'm not going after anybody. I'm not doing this weirdo shit for views and clicks. And I can go argue with someone right now and create, viral videos. And that wasn't it. I said, look, how do I separate myself? Because they got me fucked up. People think that this dude is now making these pieces. They look cool, but I'm like, all right, cool. Okay. Let me get my shit in museums. Let me go work with Cause. Let me go work with Murakami. Use these relationships. Now my jewelry's in museums, bro. Real museum quality. My shit is on an actual, real, respected museums with arguably the top 3 biggest contemporary artists on the planet.
Why
Not
was
in
that
USA.
important to you?
Because it was being seen in a different way. I broke down something that these people are trying to be on the BET Awards or MTV or whatever the fuck it is, Instagram, be on Drake's page here and there. Nah, I'm about to be in museums.
Were you trying to?
It was art.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get across. It's like, I think that you look at what you're involved in as bigger than whatever the lens is in the moment. You're trying to expand it, whether expand it into a different culture, expand it into a different demographic. The same way you just speak about golf. And that's what I got away from, where it was like, nah, this is bigger than just flossing. Like, yeah, it's a part of it, and it gives the opportunity to essentially put more eyes on it. But I've seen you. Do you think that comes with, was that always the path you were taking in regards to your jewelry, or did it kind of grow within that?
No, my path was, let's make some money, let's flex, let's talk some shit. Let me be ignorant. Let me be a spoiled brat. Let me act like I'm 17. Let me get all these chips off my shoulders, and all the shit that I was hating, whatever. Boom, let me let all that out. And I'm glad it came out.
Yeah.
Every so often you might see some things here and there that people think like, even with my marriage, I think every so often my wife would be reminded, that she'd meet someone that knew me from 20 years ago or 25 or 30 years ago, or my family member, and she wouldn't believe these stories because she's like, oh, boom. She's like, I don't think you understand how much this man has changed. If you really understood, even Nedick, or someone like that.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where she was like, in a way, she, at points was my biggest fan. Low key wasn't very vocal about it, but at the same time, she knew I knew how to make money. I don't know when it clicked, and I don't want to waste too much time to thinking about it, but it clicked at a certain point that let me turn the money down. Let me go after a bigger cause. I'm almost guaranteed I feel like the money will come in a different way.
Yeah.
So instead of going after $10,000, $100,000 jobs, let me go after this $5 million job that'd pay off a little later. It was like, someone renting, someone buying a house, whatever. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but I'm just saying like,
yeah, but now I get that. You have a better understanding of, it's almost like more fulfilling because
it was.
Yeah,
I was the king of microwave food and things like that. I didn't want my grandma to cook the pot slow and certain things and low heat and whatever and let things, season and simmer and all that.
Then you saw the benefit of.
But I started realizing it wasn't just a microwave oven. It was the microwave oven mindset. People want fast food music. They want fast food this. They want their money yesterday. They want their money tomorrow. They say this thing, 10,000 hours. What about 25,000 hours? I realized that all the things that I've done in my life have made me who I am today. And I realized when I did put it on the simmer and I let it cook slow, you know what I mean? And I let it kind of marinate. That's when the real rewards started coming, and some people don't see it. They think it's like because they can't get past the era of me wearing the gigantic chains and driving a Lamborghinis and things like that. And sadly enough to stay, I was a big fan of cars in every aspect, from JDM, Japanese cars to everything. And now, and some people say, oh, well, you drive a nice car now. It's like, it's not about that. I respect the vehicles. I don't have the love anymore for it. And I won't let, because other people on Instagram have ruined it by capping or leasing, renting, showing someone else's car.
It's not about the cars anymore.
It's not. It's just, I do love to have a certain amount of luxury, and I feel like I deserve it, and I know I do. But one, it defined me at a point for too long. It doesn't define me anymore. I respect the craftsmanship of a car, but it's not anything I really like. It's on the back of my mind. And it's easy to say when you have made some money and have it, but it's also, I don't need it.
Yeah.
And that applies to so many other things, again, in my life, So I felt like, hey, golf, something I could do with my kids. So I can do it till I'm 80 or 90. I'm going to have more time later to do other things. I had more passion in there, and I found something.
The car shit is really interesting because I did know you as somebody who was so much of a floss, but I think that when, like you said, the culture of the microwave culture, and I won't say the just the newer generation, where it's not there's no blame in it to me. It's just the nature of what happened with technology and internet, and everything became.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like
news is faster.
Everything's faster. Access to everything. Like I use this reference. Like my girls don't even really understand when I use the word like you got to be patient. What patient means to them is very different than what it means to me.
Yeah.
Because everything's instant.
And I've never been a patient person.
Yeah,
I have ADD.
So, but now you're being more patient within how you see yourself. You're being more patient within how you live your life.
But the problem is this. If you decided to put a general scale of 1970s to 2000 patients on a 1 to 10, right? My level of patience was at a 0-1, okay? Being very, very impatient,
First
right?
30 years of you rock.
Okay. Now, where I am life now with that same scale, I'm probably at a 6 or 7. Now, it's leaps and bounds. Now, if you took the scale from 2010 to 2023, right, I'd probably be a 9 strong.
Yeah.
And in some books, it'd be a
absolutely.
10 with having 3 children now and something like that. Their scale is so far off that, it could bring up argument, whatever. But I do realize that, especially with the last 6-7 months of my life, I started realizing it's still moving faster. It's not fast enough for me, but it's moving faster, and I have to appreciate that, and I have to trust the process.
There you go. And that's why we do the show, because Everything's in the process. Do you try to use everything, and I don't know if you I come from the perspective where you can't not do it, but I like to hear people articulate how do you use what you learned in jewelry making, in the world of jewelry, in the actual process of making jewelry into being a parent, into being a husband, into golf, the entrepreneurial aspect, the podcast aspect. Like, to me, I like to use everything I've learned into everything that I'm learning. You know what I mean? So how do you use those tools that you learned from that world, from the all the worlds, not just the jewelry making, but the culture of that, into what you're doing now?
I think it even goes back deeper into listening to music.
Word.
But yesterday I was sitting down with a golf professional, an actual PGA pro, and he went to golf school. Now, I misunderstood that for golf school. Like, let's say, for instance, it's different with like out of college, you don't make the NFL draft, or you do, you go to camp, right? Then like the camp thing, the PGA has something like Q school before you go into the semi-pro, but their semi-pro league is a lot better than it's kind of similar than AAA ball, or like, CBA, or I don't know what the G League or something like that, whatever, boom. But then there's another school I never knew about. It's the science of golf. And it shows you why a ball will roll a certain way, because the dimple, that level. And I said, look, I don't want to get that deep into it because they're driving me crazy, right? Some people actually makes them comfortable because they're so crazy in their mind about technicality, right? Now, he said, in a global study, those who are creative, have creative minds, artists, certain things, can see, obviously a jeweler creative, they succeeded at putting better and reading a slope on a great green than the average golfer, or even a good golfer. Thought that was crazy. That's just one thing. I've always been big on aesthetics, and I've been big about certain things. Coming from a person of a broken home, and, well, not a broken, but a divorced family, I think I knew, me being the youngest of three, I know what it did to me in my life. So when I approach fatherhood and being a husband, I will say, fatherhood, I've been waiting for this all my life. It's something I wanted for all my life. So I didn't just embrace it.
Yeah.
I jumped into a 40-degree water, you know what I'm saying, Antarctica. I didn't care. I was like, yo, I'm going in, right? I knew I had a partner who was a very loving mother, was very everything like that. And I think I approached marriage with slightly different of approach. All the game I had learned from music, from being worldly, from jewelry making and things like that, had not necessarily translated into marriage and being a husband. What it did was, it made me an excellent provider for my family. It made me an excellent, thinker for, problem solving certain things. But it also made me, I was also very stressed out because I had a very high load. So I think I was a decent husband, not the greatest. And I think at certain points, my love language was gifting and being very generous. Whereas I think some people thought I was stingy or this and that and whatever. And again, it goes down to, do you know me? No, you know the Instagram, you know this. Okay.
Yeah, you know the image.
So, but as far as parenthood, I knew that we live in a different time right now, right? Technically, legally, you're allowed to smack your kid upside the head if he's acting crazy, starting to fight, about to set a house on fire, whatever, boom. But then there's a fine line with that. Growing up in a real Korean household, old school, it was similar to growing up in a black household. Now, this may sound stereotypical, and I don't want anybody to take offense by it, but we got our ass beat when we was younger. We did, and there was no calling the police and like that, whatever, And I remember, even to a certain point, my boy Eric Holmes, his dad whooped my ass because we was both causing trouble. And so I wanted my dad to whip Eric's dad. And he's like, no, that's how it was. He was looking out because I wasn't there. And I was like, what kind of shit is this? And I remember both of us getting whooped up, and we got involved in gang shit early, right? In this neighborhood we in right now. I'm not going to say the gang stuff, but, it is what it was. And I was like, damn. His dad said some shit that was crazy, man. He's like, I'm whooping your ass before the police do. And it just resonated. And I had gotten arrested, like, I don't know how many times before I turned 18. When it was 18, I knew, all right, I'm not going to real jail. Like, fuck that. And I'd never been arrested, as an adult. So going on and going forward, my creativity, my work ethic, and everything, I would be exhausted because I'm the breadwinner. I'm putting in this time, but yeah, I'm not putting enough hours with the kids. I got all this work on my desk. Now I'm prioritizing. All right, I got Drake here. I got a drug dealer who's spending, 75K cash, right? I got a pro athlete here, maybe Kevin Durant or somebody have this. Who's going to get their piece first, right? All right, I got 3 kids. People say, oh, if you don't say you don't have a favorite, you're lying. I believe that to a certain extent, right? I'll baby my daughter. She's the baby of the family, right? But really, there is a protocol in the home, but they are before anybody.
Yeah.
And I had a big argument with my wife about it. And I was like, listen, once we said I do, it's us against the world. Fuck that. You're very close to your mom. You're very close to your dad. My mom's the closest person in my life as far as an adult outside of this. If it came down between you and my mom, I'm sorry, it's you. And we didn't agree on that. And she was trying to sidestep about it. There's 2 sides to it. Let her tell whatever she wants. But I'm saying, I was like, that bothered the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
And I don't think she understood why I was going so hard. I think she thought that I was going so hard to go floss or do this, and this. She didn't realize I was truly setting up my kids for life. Now, that could also backfire in a bad thing because they become entitled. They become certain things. And let that be my fault. That's fine. I just did not want them to struggle. I didn't want them to go through certain things. I didn't want them to be around certain things. They, don't know what it was like being 12 years old running the streets. Now my son's 11. It's like he could barely walk 5 blocks and get lost.
It's a totally different lifestyle.
So I think using everything I learned and all that, the patience part of scientifically a jewelry piece can't be made in 3 days. Not a extravagant one.
Yeah.
It takes time, right? I want my son to learn something. It's not going to come overnight. Yeah. Maybe it clicks. Some people have naturally they hit a baseball, whatever it may be. Oh, they naturally are gifted. They can do algebra at 10 where some people need to be 15, Yeah. And I just put all these things in together and I said, look, man, aesthetically, I know what I want us to appear to be to the public. What really matters is what do you guys feel comfortable in? Could even go down to racism. I said a comment that went crazy. The Asian American community fucking hated me. They tried to cancel me the whole 9. And during the Stop Asian Hate shit, they were going and rioting. And I don't agree with anybody hitting an 80-year-old Asian man or any of that. I'm not about that at all. But I said, if you're over 38, I want you to understand, and you're lying to yourself because I've been around more Asians than more people than you think. There is a big, huge, not even a stigma, it's just there is a lot of anti-blackness in Asian households, and it's been there, and it starts at home.
Oh, you told some shit that they didn't want.
And they didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
And now, mind you, black community got behind me to a certain extent. Asian community was mad, but then people started realizing what I was saying, and it was true. They didn't want to admit it because it sounds bad. And I said, I don't mean I attack anybody. I'm just saying the conversation started at home. You could bring a black person in my house. My kids ain't tripping because that's all they've been. They know. Their godfather's black. Certain things like that. It starts at home, and I knew at that point, people used to say, and it bothered me. Oh, I'm a dog mom. Oh, I'm a cat mom. I'm this, whatever. And it's not maybe that's bullying to say something like, man, you ain't no mom. A dog, great. It's a great companion. Yeah. But you don't have to worry about what that dog is going to be in society, how they're going to be looked upon, how they're going to carry your legacy, your name, certain shit like that. You know what I mean? It's a different thing.
It's very different. Yeah.
It's a lot of stress, right? And people say, oh, well, shit, I took care of my niece. I've raised her now for the last 7 years. Look, there's 2 arguments. DNA doesn't necessarily determine family, right? Love does. At the same time, in the same argument, when you have someone on this earth that is carrying your bloodline and everything else, it's a lot. You really got to think about, look, this person, these kids never asked to be here. You should not get credit because I take care of my kids. You're supposed to take care of your kids. They never asked to be here. They rely on you, And throughout this divorce, I thought about wow, I'm out in the streets. I'm working. There was years where I was on a plane 190 times in a year, gone. Now, I don't think I spent enough time. That's my bad.
Yeah.
I'm out trying to hunt for the food, right? And I thought about what kind of impact have I made on my kids. I would say it was up to maybe 70% they favored the mom, 30% they favored me because they were really young and they depended on her and she's with them all the time. When all of them started being able to talk and have conversations so we could actually talk and talk about pop culture or anything else, I saw the shift change. And I knew what I was doing. I was planting seeds early in certain things, but doing what I had to do. She's working really, really hard and looking at that. And I'm not discrediting it. I'm just saying, look, this happens because I'm out here
of X,
doing
Y, and Z, yeah.
But more importantly, when the shift started changing very strongly during the divorce, we were driving to Dave & Buster's. My kids are in the back seat. And it was a really, really tough time. It's probably the darkest moment of my life. I hadn't seen them for a little bit of time. I've never been away. I woke with them every single day for all their lives. And we won't get into the bullshit, but, you know, I've never been away from them for more than 5 or 6 days. And that's if I'm in Dubai or Japan or somewhere on a business trip. And then still I got FaceTime and everything. Mm-hmm. There was a point for a short time I didn't have any communication with them. And thank God for my attorney and whatever, you know, thought we won it. When I got back, they had cried for hours. And they had fought for me and seen whatever, boom, they didn't understand it. I don't want to get into specifics and, you know, per the court, you're not supposed to really talk about things like that. Just keep it, you know, that's adult business. But we're driving and I said, we're pulling in a parking lot. And this is when I knew I have succeeded as a father. Not as a provider, not as somebody who was there to take them to baseball games or anything else, whatever. At this point, my kids knew what time it was. And I said, I pulled over in the parking lot. They're like, Dad, what's going on? Let's go to stand. Like, we're here. Let's park. Let's park. And I was like, guys, do you know what death is? And they're like, yeah. And I wasn't getting into mortality.
Yeah.
I was like, you understand that, you know, Uncle Q had passed away. You know, he's your godfather. Boys. Yeah, of course, Dad. What? And I was like, I start crying. I had so much death happen in my life. Two of my best friends in my adult life had died. Throughout my bike gang days, I had like 7 or 8 people pass. I've had a lot of people I've known pass away, and it kind of made me weird. I think in the mid to early 2000s, and prior to that even, I could cry if something was sad. I really cried. I cried at my wedding. I cried at every day, the moment every children was born. But like, other than that, it was tough, right? I began to cry, and I said, look, man, I would die for you guys. I looked them dead in the eye. I said, I would die for you guys. Do you understand? And they're like, yeah, Dad, are you dying? And I was like, no, listen to me. I would take a bullet. I want you to understand how much I love you. I hope you don't think that me being away was my fault or anything. And it's not about that anymore. I'm not blaming anybody. I just want you to know I love you and I would die for you. Now, my son didn't understand it completely, but his response fucked me up so bad. And Ryder said, but Dad, then who would guide us through life? And I was like, wow. I put the car in park now. Forget like sitting on the brake. I put the car in park. I was like, wow. I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, they spent a lot of time with their grandfather, their grandmother, their mom, their uncle. They're like, Mom can't do that and Grandpa can't do that, whatever. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And then London chimes in. He goes, they can't teach us how to be men. Dad, it's got to be you. You have to be here. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I just want you to understand that that's how much you mean to me. And I think right then and there, the fact that they knew, they didn't say, oh, well, you know, Dad's out here. Someone will guide me through here. They knew that at that point. And I think that was a big moment for me. You know, my relationship with my kids right now through these tough times is the strongest it's ever been. So I think navigating through 2 or 3 different careers in my life, all the adversity, all the obstacles made me successful in jewelry. Obviously, my mouthpiece with networking. Yeah. But the chess game and letting myself lose a rook, you know, a pawn, but making sure the queen got that check and checkmate, whether it took 2 years or 10 years, that was the most rewarding thing of my life lessons. So, you know, I never, ever thought, all right, well, shit, I got enough till next week. I'm good. No, I got enough till next. No, fuck that. I need enough for 10 years, 15 years. If I fail, I know 3 or 4 years was done. And now I got a little cushion, and I just kept building a cushion. And that's how it all relates. I don't know if I strayed off, but that's basically as best as I can answer your question.
No, especially in reference to because I know your focus right now, and is all around your family, and it's around your children, and to see how you correlate things with your kids. And it resonates with me in the aspect that I do think that for the most part, when I think of what the message that I'm trying to get across to my kids and to my girls, it's really, yeah, I want them to know how much I love them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
root of it is like, yo,
More
you
anything in
just
the
want
world.
your children to know how much you love them.
Yeah.
So the things you do are just so that you
Yeah.
think that at some point they'll feel and understand how much you love them. And sometimes we might say things to emphasize it. We might do
Yeah.
things to emphasize,
Yeah.
but it really is all that's it. The guiding is just because you love them. The guiding, the helping, the directing, the discipline, like whatever, anything that you do, the support, every aspect that we give as a parent is really just to show and express to them how much we love them. And for me, and that's what I can speak to. But I do think when I look at the things that I've given to other interests, other careers, or whatever it may be, it's kind of the same for me in relation to the respect I've given towards it. You know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense. Like, the respect I gave towards ball was because I loved it and I wanted it to love me back. So I was, you know what I mean? Like, the way I respected how I would treat my body, the way I respected how I would treat my workouts, how I treat.
I heard a cold term.
Oh, yeah.
I need you to understand this. I interviewed a pro golfer on the tour, and she said this is the best way to describe golf. Imagine being in a relationship, marriage, serious relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Imagine you love them more than anything you've ever loved in your life, and it will never love you back. And I was like, damn, that was so cold.
Yeah, that's hard. I don't know if I could.
Yeah, that's hard, right? But if anything ever at this moment right now, there isn't even a 0.000 fraction, 0.0001% chance that I think in my brain that my kids don't know now. It's not even embedded. I know that they know I love them. And I'm proud of that. That makes me smile.
That's it, yeah. And it puts a lot of other things in perspective, right?
For sure.
Like, you don't even need golf to love you back.
Yeah. No, I got them.
You know,
you know?
exactly. It's like,
Yeah,
it does.
them.
And
the golf gods reward you.
Yeah,
you know?
That's a good, exactly. That's a good way to reference it too. It's like, yo, you can get rewarded. And you know what I mean? And you can be appreciated in that way. It's like, but when you recognize base level what your core values are, it puts a lot of other things. It gives you, to me, it frames what your like responsibility looks like, you know, in regards to how you see yourself.
Yeah.
Because you know, your image, you said, it's like, yo, your image has changed. There's a level of your aesthetics, absolutely. You're an aesthetic dude to some degree, but even that has changed. You know what I mean? The imagery around what that looks like.
Yeah.
Your Ben Baller, your identification around being Ben Baller has changed because even with the, you know, you've had many monikers and you got many names and everything like that. But you know, I've always called you. I was like, yo, in my life, you a bum in my world, just because I don't care about that shit.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? And I remember we talked one time and you were like, yeah, you know, certain part of the lifestyle comes with having to identify. You know what I mean? It goes back and forth. But now you really do identify with.
Bro, I don't wear jewelry anymore.
Yeah, you identify.
Like, I mean, actually, this is the most jewelry I've worn. But the funny thing is that, my buddy who had passed away had his family had given me this one thing. The other thing was a gift from someone else, and these are very smaller like type things. More than part, it's usually tucked in, right? My daughter made this bracelet for me. Like, she actually made it, and it says Dad. And
That's
she's like,
"You're wearing shit you got on."
Yeah, it's the best shit. There's a thing, Yang Gang, with all my kids' names on it.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, you know, like, I don't give a fuck.
I know, and that's what's care. To me. It's like
that is weird for me to say too.
But you know, it's almost like liberating in the sense that that's not cap, and that's not essentially that's not
it's
posturing.
for real,
yeah, that's not posturing, and I think that that's the root of it all. When they see who you are
The fan
over the
base I
years. You
have,
know what I mean?
the
Yeah,
fan
the
base I
fan
have now
base.
is having a hard time seeing it.
Exactly.
But the ones that get it,
It's like
they respect it, and I don't care if only 200,000 out of some point million
Yeah.
something. I don't care
See,
because it
that's what's
resonates
interesting.
with them. That's all that matters. And if you want to unfollow, I'm not tripping on those numbers or anything. That's not real to me. I've never really exposed a lot, even though people think, oh, he's showing the best shit. That's what most of people do. I didn't for the safety of my kids, so I never posted my crib.
Yeah.
So I never posted all the cars or whatever. Boom. Now it doesn't really matter. I'm in a whole different situation, right? My kids have always had access to the best shoes or wear Gucci. I remember my first son, I was like, we got Gucci sweatsuits and this, baby dye, this, boom. And like my kids now, like, we go to Target and it's cool because they're growing stuff fast and they really don't care. A lot of Ben Baller merch, they fit now in the small and whatever, but other than that, they don't care. My daughter, different. I want her to have higher standards. I do. I want her to have a certain thing, and she's still so young, but she's so cute and everything. And I want her to have, girls are more expensive, that because you're two girls, but like it's,
Girls are more expensive. You hear that?
twice, they say up to even 3 times the price of a boy, right?
Shit.
Hair, there's all the, we're not going to get into, when they get into teenage years, but, I love that my kids, I'm like, yo, wear those. Like, no, I don't need to have $800 shoes, Dad. And he really means it.
Yeah.
So I want to just destroy them. I'm like, all right, what are these comfortable? That's all I care about. Yeah, the Air Max is comfortable. Then wear the Air Max then. One thing I really do love about my kids, this sounds really stupid when I wrote about it.
If it's about your kids, it can't be stupid, though.
No, this is something that a study. I never like being barefoot anywhere. I think growing up in a certain way with not having, I guess lower middle class. Before I was born, my parents were pretty much almost destitute at a few points, living in a garage, all that. So I always wanted to have socks when I go to sleep and certain things. It was just weird things like that. All my kids immediately take their socks off. Their feet, they want to touch the ground. They want to touch grass. They want to do things.
Wonderful, man.
I realized in a physical therapy class,
it's important.
Health-wise, it's actually good to have your feet touch ground, touch glass, touch everything. It was a natural way. I always had such a weird thing with hygiene. I have baby wipes in 15 parts of my house. I have 2-3 packs in my cars, not just for the kids, because I wipe my feet down in certain things. I'm so weird about that.
So damn disconnected.
Yeah. It's crazy.
You ain't
touch
never
grass.
touched the ground, yo. You ain't never touched the
Yeah,
ground.
no, it's weird, right? It's a tripped out thing, and but man, the transition in the last 2 years, and every year or so, it gets bigger and bigger, right? And the focus and the stress to be like, all right, well, look, I gotta provide, I want them to stay in private school. I want to do this. I want to do this. Now my not vision, what's the word I'm thinking about? I guess outlook, whatever, perspective.
Yeah.
My perspective just in the last 6 months has changed because now I'm about to enter the back 9 of my life, right? I played the front 9.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. It was all right. I was like, all right, now I'm in the back 9 of my life.
It was all right. Come on, fucker.
It was good.
Yeah, it was
It was
good.
really good. I'm very, very blessed. There was a lot of trauma throughout I would say from 10 to 17, there was a lot of trauma in those years I carry on now. And even my wife had even told me, soon to be ex-wife had told me, you should go see somebody about that, right? And I realized, I do need to address those, make me a better dad, better parent, and deal with those things, whatever. But I think I love who I am today. Sometimes I might not love myself as much as I need to, but who I am today, some people think it's an act. I'm like, how the fuck is it an act? Like, some people are like, yo, man, post more cars, more jewelry.
You've been acting a long time. Fuck, boy.
Yeah, I don't think this is acting anymore.
You're a method actor.
Yeah. And the thing was, the only thing I might have method acted about is how much pain I've been going through in the last 6 months because of being strong for my kids.
Yeah. How do you feel? Do you feel empowered stepping into this next back 9? Do you feel like you actually can, that you're enthusiastic and excited to take it on?
I don't think I was enthusiastic for the first 4 months. I was in a dark place. And it wasn't about necessarily, well, it was about losing my partner and someone I never imagined ever actually getting a divorce from whatever mistakes I've made in my life. I knew what I wanted most of my life, or what I thought I wanted, but no, let me not, no, that's not fronting. What I wanted in my life, and it was coming to an end. So in a way, I had never really been in a 2-year relationship before in my life, right? So 14 years is a long time. I thought at that point, I'm treating this like a death in the family. This is damn near a funeral. This is like, it's now mourning, right? And some great things have been said throughout this process, right? You really find out about, your partner and what they really mean. What is what about, right? I don't think my true colors ever changed. And right before our separation, one of my boys I've known for 25 years, he said, I want you to know something. Ben is the same fucking person he's been for over 2 decades. She ain't known me for 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
She's like, what do you mean? He goes, you just don't know how fucked up this dude was, right? In a certain way. But this is absolutely 100 million%. This is a married man with kids, successful, everything. You don't realize this is the best version of Ben that I've ever seen in my life. So, boom, that didn't matter to her, and I don't care.
Yeah,
it's
and it
fine.
shouldn't have. I don't think.
And it made me feel good. But the crazy part was, my divorce attorney has known me for 8 years. She's like the Michael Jordan of divorce lawyers, right? I would joke around, I'll never need you one day, boom. And then finally when I did, she's like, oh, shit. She said something after we left court one day, and we had won in court. And she said, I want you to understand something, Ben. Don't worry about the monetary shit. Don't worry about that. And I'm like, well, I got to worry about it because making money at 23 is different from, or losing money at 23 is different from losing money at 50. And she's like, one thing I witnessed in 8 years, and you forget I have friends of mine, or dear friends of mine that have known you for 30 years. And she said, you are the master of bouncing back on your feet. No matter what the fuck is thrown at you, you would just bounce on your feet. You look at a bowl of rice, and other people be like, all right, let me eat this shit here and there. No. Come back 30 minutes later, Ben has a restaurant now. She was like, she said some dope things.
We just made your new name, Bounce Back Ben.
Yeah.
There you go.
And they were like, look, you always bounce back on your feet. So entering where I finally see, I knew light was going to come. It was, wait till you get to the other side. When you get to the other side, it's better. Talking to divorcees, whatever, boom. And I'm like, well, you don't know what I'm going through. You may have been through a divorce. Every divorce is different. But when I started seeing a peak of light, I started getting better sleep. And then now that we are hopefully towards the end of this, right? My vision has been 2020 throughout it. I knew what was going to happen throughout it. Did she? No, I don't think so. And it's not about being right or wrong. I just knew what was going to happen. So now that we're at this part and I see more light at the end of the tunnel, I am enthusiastic. I am waking up with more of a purpose. I just still have my hand. I had one hand tied instead of two hands tied now. And I'm back to work for the first time as of like a week ago. I'm out here. Thing that people don't tell you is I always say, mental toughness, mental illness, mental this, mental that. It's no secret that the 300 players that hold the PGA Tour card, every one of them, no matter they take an RV to their tournaments, private jet, whatever, every one of them have a mental coach. You have a swing coach, a regular coach of this. Every single one of them have a mental coach. It is more mental than football, basketball, anything else. It is mental. A 3-foot putt, there's so many different things making it. You can't compare them. It's really crazy with this pressure, right? When I realized I was playing some of the best golf of my life in such a short time, December, January, February, and then the things fell apart, and I was like, wow, I took some time off. Came back, I was struggling, and then I had something to laser in on. I was like, oh shit.
Focus,
Professional attorney, live pro-am in Chicago. Okay, I got 2 weeks. Can I do it? Maybe not. And guess what? I'm going to go have fun.
Word.
I lasered in on television. And I shot my lowest round ever in history on TV, playing with the best people on earth, shocking people. At one point, the official scorer, with the fucking vest on and everything, saying, it's pretty fucking sad. This guy, Ben, is carrying the goddamn team for 3 holes. This is pretty fucking embarrassing, guys. I want to let you know. And he goes, well, you know what? Your opinion doesn't fucking matter. And you know what? You shouldn't even fucking comment. Like, there's arguing going on.
Yeah.
And I'm just smiling. I'm just like, man, this is crazy, man. This is nuts. Mentally, I put everything the fuck out of my head and focused on that day. And then finished. It was a great day. Laying down, I couldn't go to sleep. I was so happy and whatever else. We didn't win. I won my first tournament in January, which is a massive thing people don't ever do in history. First thing I did was call my kids. They were hyped to a certain extent. They don't really understand the magnitude of it, right?
Yeah.
They're happy to talk. You want to play a video game? All right, cool.
You're just sharing your joy with them at that point.
But then I thought, like, damn, it hit different. I'd be going home, looking forward to go here, boom. I'm going back now house to an empty house because she got them at that time, boom. So it was like some different things that were going through my mind, and I was like, all right, well, look, I'm going to have to make this a new norm. I'm going to have to find a neutral ground space, and I'm going to adjust and adapt. And slowly but surely, I'm getting to that point right now. I don't know what the future holds, and there's anxiety there no matter how much confidence I have.
Yeah.
Too much confidence, obviously, fuck around and make me, oversights happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want that. So really, again, we go back to 20 minutes ago in patience and me not being patient. But, it's not even in my hands really, right? But if I follow protocol, I do what I'm needed to do. And one thing I don't think I've ever really done, except for things that I knew made money, and even then, I don't know if I took everything so serious. I know now, with all the pain and everything, it's always best to take the high road. That's the probably biggest lesson I learned. Tell the truth. Take the high road. It'll come out. If it don't come out now, it'll come out later, boom. And I'm like, no, fuck that shit. I need the shit to come out now. I know what the truth is, right? But the taking the high road and just saying, like, look, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to play the games. Because I could be petty. In fact, I was addicted to being petty. But I realized, I can't move this way. Because that's an infectious energy.
That's called growth to me, man. Like, I see that as literal growth.
It's so infectious that petty energy, it starts to permeate the room, your circle, everything, and trickle down to the kids, right? And I don't know if it was Double O or somebody tied the Netiq or somebody, but it was a fucking amazing thing. And it was one of my favorite tweets I ever wrote. And it wasn't mine, but it was amazing. And I adopted it. Unsuccessful people gravitate towards each other and create unsuccessful crews. That's the simple part. They come together and try to have you join their bullshit. You know what I mean? And going whatever. And you guys sit in fucking misery. And then what happens? Arrested development. And that's a real thing. And you start realizing. You hang out with a bunch of divorced people here and there, whatever, boom. What kind of energy does that bring when you come back into a house that's taking time here and there? Look, I don't have no regrets, man. Maybe the only regret I wish I had kids sooner. They happen when they happen, right? The biggest regret maybe is I do wish I played golf at like 12, 13, 15, 18, or 19 because, I love the game so much, right? I wish I had more time with it. But golf will always be there for you. Golf is not going anywhere. And that's a beautiful thing. I also think about what if I did play golf at 17 or 18? I can't go crazy about it because now the entire trajectory of my life could have been completely different. Might not have met you. Might not have met certain things.
Yeah, that's why I said I think like the trusting of all that to me goes back to it's like you got to trust the process. You got to
the
trust
process is real, bro.
You got to trust the tools that you've given yourself in all your experiences. Like Ben, you've experienced things that literally anybody brings up something in conversation. You're like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I was around that. Or you know what? Yeah,
really
I
did it too, though.
Really, yeah. So but those experiences have given you certain blades, given you certain tools to then be able to experience things where it's like, you know what? Yeah, this is new to me because I'm going through the same shit. And this is new. This is a new space. But you know what? I know how I'm built. I know what I'm capable of. And you know, at the end of the day, I know what I value. I know what's important to me now.
Yeah.
You know, it would be one thing if like you were trying to figure out like what's important to you. Then a lot of it's up in the air. You know what I mean? All this shit. But like, and you know what? And I relate this to, and you were the one who said this to me. When I was coming out here and I was training out here before we lived here, I was like, I don't really fuck with LA. And I was like, yo, it's so fly. I was like, the people out here are hella fake. And you said to me, nah, those are transplants. Not the people who are from here. It's very different. And I remember like hearing that and I was like, yeah.
I still feel that way.
And then when I peeped it and I started to be around you, I started to have conversation with people that were from here. I'm like, oh, it's actually true. Because when you're born and raised here, you do settle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And essentially the people that came. So it's like, nah, dude, you know who you are. And the people that are around you, they know who you are. Hence why they can say like, nah, this dude he's grown. Like literally he's always been a solid dude. Yeah, he was about his bullshit. But even within that bullshit, it was around like an appreciation for. And now to see the growth, like, I don't know, man. It's
that's the biggest compliment you could ever give me.
Reflection. Yeah, man, I'll be honest with you, dog. I
don't think I've ever seen you as an immature person in my entire life. Maybe the only time, and we could edit this out, I'm sure if you guys don't care. The only time that was funny that you ever did anything, not even petty, was we were at Barney's one time with Q, rest in peace.
And I bought those fucking shoes.
I bought them too, and then he bought them. But the way he bought them, he said, hey, if Portia asks, say that you bought them for me so that she don't get mad that I used it, you know what I mean, didn't get her something. And it was like, I understood a man to man, like, you know, we have a shoe addiction, boom, and whatever. And that was funny. But yeah, that was funny.
And they didn't even fucking fit. That's how I knew it was like me. You know what? It was me and Q.
So today, so the Yves Saint Laurent, they're like these boots, whatever.
Yeah.
I have them. And I was like, should I wear those today? And I was like, Dad, I love these things. And I don't really keep a lot of shoes. Like, you know, at one point I had 1,800 pairs, right? I ended up becoming a millionaire from selling my sneakers. But I'm down to 32 pairs, and it's mind-blowing to all the people in the sneaker community. They're like, what the fuck? And I kept some key pieces here and there, but I just don't care.
Nah, man.
Classic shit, you know.
What does success look like to you? At this point,
success is knowing that my kids are happy. My kids have clothes. My kids don't just eat, they have healthy meals. And they're active. Success is knowing that we're not going to get too deep into where anything could happen. The world could end tomorrow. They could this, whatever. I know that I have planned for disasters, not to the point where I'm worrying about them, but I've prepared myself and stayed ready for so long that when an occurrence happens that's maybe unfortunate, I can absorb that hit.
Yeah.
So success for me is planning ahead and always ready for whatever. So even with like the biggest financial loss of my life was this year, I'll be all right.
Word.
You know, and it sucks, but I got to go with I'll make it back. I got no other choice, right? That is really success, man. I think success is like sometimes I'm in the house and it's lonely. And again, I've pushed away the people who love me the most because I don't want to have the conversations. It's not that they're just because obviously they're so hurtful. They're just repetitive things with different people. The best thing in the world is sitting on my couch. I have a TV show I want to watch or a game. I got some shit on my phone that's preoccupying my bullshit. But I got 3 kids in the background laughing, talking to friends, playing with each other here and there. And it's the most comforting thing in the world. It is so comforting to me. It is comforting that after that, we're going to go eat dinner, maybe go somewhere we don't. Sometimes they don't want to leave the house. Now we're going upstairs, we're going to sleep. I know they're next to me. I know they're safe.
Yeah.
I watch them sleep. People think that that's weird. I don't know what's weird about it. I watch them sleep. I see that they're peaceful. Sometimes they go through nightmares. And almost 80% of the time, 1 or 2 of them will run and jump in the bed with me.
Yo,
I'm like, come here.
Best shit in the
I was
world,
like, come here.
dude.
I don't give a fuck how old you. Come here.
I know.
I was like, I got you. I love you so much. You know, like that's really,
Word, yeah.
that's success, man. I could be working for Amazon. It wouldn't matter. That's just success for me. You know, I just think that, you know, some people say, never be content, never be comfortable. Man, shut the fuck up. I'm so tired of fake gurus on social media here and there, scamming people to do this and that. Do all that shit and don't sell a class. Don't sell nothing. No, whatever. Boom. You know, do your side. Stop the cap. Um, I was very content up till, I mean, but I'm saying like up till, you know, I wasn't necessarily blindsided. I was content. And I think that, you know, maybe bothered her, maybe it didn't. Tried to have the conversation. It didn't work out. And, you know, it is what it is. And I think I did find a lot of, is the word solace? I don't know. I just, being in the RV with my family, headed to Yosemite or headed to like, you know, to Sequoia National Park, you know, whether it be 6 hours, 4 hours, 9 hour drive, I had no worries. And this is someone with ulcerative colitis, like, you know, where I have to use the bathroom, whatever. I was able to buy a luxury RV that slept my family of 5 comfortably, drive on the road. So, oh, I don't feel good? All right. Within at least 10, 15, 20 minutes, we're going to find somewhere to pull over.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I got water. I got a TV. I got a bed. I got this. Chill out. I got a bathroom. I got this. I had everything I needed in that fucking RV with my family. We'll go hiking. We'll do this. We'll do that. Go camping. Go cook food, whatever. And it was crazy. I was like, man, bro. There have been times when I was racing in my fucking Lambo or racing in my McLaren and racing down, like, oh shit, that was great. Meet up with some people.
Where you felt like that was the life, right?
Yeah. And like, oh shit, man, it's girls here, is this.
But what you felt, yeah. No.
That drive, listen to some, you know, like, it's crazy, right? I literally got some Grover Washington Jr. in the background. I'm hearing that saxophone, and I'm chilling. Nick's listening to some like murder mystery thing on her headphones. The kids are playing here and there. I'm driving. I'm like, yo, get to the destination. I'm like, I did not give a fuck about anything else. Why? Everything I need is right here, and we're there. I know where we all are. Here, boom. We're going to go on a hike. We're going to go do this. We're going to go fishing. Whatever it may be, everything was right there, and that was the most solid. That was success, content, happiness.
That was freedom.
I couldn't ask for
peace.
More.
That's all that.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for more.
That's love, boy. That's the shit. You know, I appreciate every conversation that we have. And I appreciate every conversation on this podcast because they're all very different. But I think you spoke to the most personal of what you're going through right now. And that, to me, is very valuable in relation to the people out here that have real life shit in the moment. And it is kind of a blindsided, you know what I mean? They didn't think it was going to occur. You know,
yeah,
you know, very much in relation to, you know, kind of the same as what I experienced with bro. But I want you to know, and I want, you know, you've clearly shared with the audience that I know it's heavy, but I also, I want you to know like how like proud in relation to how I've seen you grow, man. And I know that it's been from a very honest, honorable, like a personal integrity, a personal responsibility place. Like, I've watched you become a healthier individual.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, I've just watched you become healthier in your lifestyle across the board, in how you see yourself, how you see other people, how you treat other people, how you, and I do, of course it's come, I think the catalyst was your marriage and your children. And that's a beautiful thing, man. Like something in your world being bigger than you that allows you to want to develop and become a better you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the root of it. And when I look at all these, everybody's, you know, all the things that people are going through with all the world and all the, especially with the internet now, everything going on from the pandemic shit to government shit, whatever it may be.
The world is doomed in the most positive voices I could say. But that's the most positive thing I can say is just say it in the truthful way. It's just fucking crazy, and I don't know what happens. And like, again, I just try to focus, right? But going back to, you know, sometimes you're like, I wish I had more time. Not more time like in longevity in my life, but I wish I had more time to fix some mistakes, and that's part of life. You go on and you move forward, right? But I found another beautiful passage that kind of gave me a little peace of mind. It's like, you can't go back in time and change the beginning, but you could start right now and change the ending.
Word.
And I was like, that's what it is. You know, I don't think I'm not at liberty to really, not at liberty. Sorry, I don't think it's something I should share about how dark it got. But you know, you think about responsibilities, and right, and I think people have to understand whether you get it or not. Once you do have children in the world who can't fend for themselves, you know, you hear about this crazy story in the Amazon where these 4 kids got dropped off in the middle of the Amazon. They lived for 30 days. It's like, Jesus Christ, you know, it's like, damn, my
one
kids
was really, really little, right? Yeah, one of the babies.
One was like fucking 10 months old. There was
yeah.
babies and shit, diapers.
Yeah.
I just realized, like, look, let me take care of my responsibilities. Let me take care of what's important with this. Too many people are focused on the wrong thing. Too many people don't have shit going on in their lives, so they think, let me join this entourage. I see too many professional friends. I see too many people who are professional entourage people, and I don't know what the longevity in that is, because it's like, all right, well, now you're 40, been running with this singer or rapper or athlete, whatever, boom. It's like, all right. And some of them are taken care of, but I mean, but like, you know how hard it is to take care of everyone? You know, it's a weird thing. But like, oh, what else am I going to do? Just be on the street, be in the hood? And I guess, but at the same time, like, you know, there has to be something. Like, you know, I mean, you should empower your team. You know, I'm proud of all my team at IF and Co. Like, you know, everyone,
Right.
they eat well to a certain extent, and some eat better than the others because some are working hard than the others. Some are producing better, but at least like nobody's driving. And not to say it's wrong, I'm just saying they're not driving Camrys or Corollas and whatever. I mean, if that's what matters to them, you know, they're doing well. But yeah, it's just who knows what's gonna happen. I do think much more about things, and I think the funny thing is, I'm not gonna speak on anyone else's behalf. The moment I found out that this is my life now, or this new life, the new
new phase.
and whatever new phase, I knew I thought it through. And because I thought it through, I was able to, you know, to obviously, you know, let me block some shit here. Let me block this shit here. All right, this is coming up. All right, let me slow down. All right, see some clown over there on the side. I'm going to drive right through his ass, you know, and just, man, navigation is a motherfucker, right? And I embrace it. So, you know,
yeah, man, you're navigating it, boss, and I'm essentially, I appreciate it. I see it, and I think, you know, people in your world, they see it, man. They see that you are able to, you're doing it. They appreciate all the things. Responsibility is interesting in regards to where you want to put your responsibilities, and I'm appreciative because I've seen where you have, you know what I mean, and it resonates with me based upon my values and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Give me one thing about your process that you really appreciate and that you can speak to, and that you're like, you know what, nah. He said, this is where it's like, be Ben Baller. Speak to you, flex your shit. What about your process is the illest?
The illest part of my process is definitely all the failure. Man, I know people love comebacks, but for some reason, I really like, people like seeing a 70-0 game. People like seeing a 30-point blowout sometimes here and there. Be like, yeah, they're just so caught up in this. Like, yo, who are you, bro? Like, I hate close games, certain things. And yeah, they make you anxious here and there, right? The failures, bro. The revenge. The there's no chance seeing Tyson Fury catch that dead blow that would have killed 99% of heavyweights by Deontay Wilder. And he was out. Down to the 9 count, to the 9, and got up. Not just get up, he won. I'm very proud of that part of my process of being knocked down and getting back up. That is probably the one thing, my resilience of literally, I'm like, I think about it, and I've said it repeatedly through the closest friends. I cannot believe I'm still standing right now, because any of you motherfuckers know what's been going on, and I haven't talked about even 5% of it, not even 2%. If you knew what I was going through, I can't believe I'm still standing. And it's crazy. And my mom said something really cold. My mom's the closest person in my life. She was messaging me like crazy, calling me. Her birthday is February 18th, same day as Dr. Dre. And we always get in these fights because Dr. Dre was my boss, whatever, boom. I stopped talking to her around mid-February before her birthday. I didn't call her on her birthday. We were going through separation at that point. She didn't know what was going on. Finally, my sister was like, this is fucking crazy. My sister told her, Ben's going through a divorce.
Yeah.
She was broken up about it. Called me every day. Didn't pick up the phone. My mom was very hard on me. Me and my mom were very loud. Like, she was a breadwinner. She was a very hard worker. Busted her ass. Almost killed herself. Been in so many situations. And 6 months, I didn't talk to her. I refused to. I ignored the call. She goes, Ben, listen, leaving messages. I didn't read it. I didn't listen to any of them. Just ignored her. Before my tournament, I had a long drive to get to this hotel. And I picked up the phone. I called her. And we talked, and we had a real good talk. And she, said what she said. And she said, I'm proud of you. I don't care. I love you regardless. I don't care. No matter what time it is. My mom was 81. And she's like, can I say this? And with Korean parents, saying I love you is just not a thing, right? As a kid, I think I heard I love you twice from 18 to birth. I just don't. It's just how they are. She's just always been, she doesn't say goodbye. She just hangs up. My mom's funny, She said something that was awesome. She's like, you're going to come back. Ben, I just know you. I've never worried about you. I worried about your brother. I worried about your sister. I even helped them out, and then I couldn't financially help you out. And I didn't worry about you. You rose to the top. They had higher education than you. They were this. They were better in school. I didn't worry about you ever. She goes, well, let me say this. She's like, Ben, the good die young. Well, what the fuck that mean? Because Q had passed away. She was like, you're going to live forever. And I was like, you fucked up, Mom. Why would you say that shit? That's fucked up. And then she hung up.
That sounds
right. And I thought, I was like, you know what? I thought maybe we got disconnected because I'm in like the outskirts of Illinois. And I was like, nah, she hung up on me, man. And she goes, the good die young, Ben. You're going to live forever. You're not good. You're a piece of shit. Hung up the phone on me. And I was like, damn, man, I needed that fucking talk.
You needed that.
So, yeah, the process of failure, I think. The process of being down 40. And then we get to the games. Like,
I'm saying something. Bounce back, Ben. I like it.
Yeah.
What, in the same breath, on the other end, give me something about your process that you don't necessarily appreciate, that you got to work on.
This is embarrassing. It's not the validation to most it probably would be, and I could even still sense where maybe it is a part of it.
Yeah.
I explain myself too much. And I'm at a point where I'm not explaining myself anymore. Whether you don't know me, whether I'm at a dry cleaner's, liquor store, new friendship, anything.
Yeah.
I've explained myself way too much throughout my process. And it was for validation. It was for certain things. I was too caught up in saying, hey, what's up? How you doing? Oh, I'm Ben Baller. No more. A lot of Ben Yang is coming out now. A lot of just Ben.
That's beautiful, man.
And I think having to explain myself, I look back at it as almost an embarrassing thing because it's more like a pick-me thing or whatever. I'm not explaining myself anymore. Oh, you don't know? Well, I'm not going to tell you. So, now that's where I'm at with it. So that's the thing that I probably am most not proud of, is spending the extra 5 to 30 minutes to a random person that doesn't mean anything, to even an acquaintance or a friend. I'm not explaining myself anymore. I've lived 70 lifetimes.
Yeah, I'm with that. I can appreciate that. Last question, man. I always wrap with, I asked you what you do. And I specifically do this question at the end because I think it is, especially throughout the conversation, with reflections and personal reflections, this conversation really taps into like where people see themselves. But at this point in time, Ben, Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm a Korean American man, born and raised in Los Angeles, who was a father to 3 beautiful kids, who is still a dreamer, who is a realist, and I'm like the Pied Piper in a way, man. I don't know what it is.
Outside of the fucked up shit that the Pied Piper did, didn't the Pied Piper do some fucked up shit?
I don't want to get into that part. I'm just saying it's very weird that I have somewhat of an army of followers that would follow me into the flames of hell, and I'm proud that I'm not leading them to hell. And I think
Word.
the fact that
that is
I
fucking.
think, yeah, I think
That's
I think
gangsta.
the
I fuck with that.
when
Yes.
people start looking at my demographics,
Yeah.
someone at 50 would have a strong fan base between 40 to 55 or whatever.
Nah, you got
My
that.
fan base is fucking 16 to 36 at the strength. Why are these younger people? The lack of guidance from OGs in today's world is so fucking important, and it's missing from the world. And that's why, whether it be the no father in the life, whatever it may be, there's too much lack of OG guidance. And I'm proud to be, I'm never consider myself a leader, maybe a trendsetter, but I've always been that one that says, all right, everyone's going this way. All right, I'm going this way then, you know? And I think, again, I'm proud to lead people in the right direction, that I'd be willing, that I'm going to take myself, you know what I mean? I'm not going to hell and, leading them into a bad place. I don't want people to steal. I don't want people to take a cheat code. You know what I'm saying? Give me some small life hacks, and that's who I am today.
I actually, I like that. I do. I fuck with that, man, because you do have there's a level of responsibility that comes along with every, you know what I mean? Like that shit is crazy.
No,
yo.
real shit.
And you could actually be influencing a lot of these folks to go down paths that are unhealthy or go down. And I think that especially in where you are right now in the world, in your life, it's you're staying true to that. You're literally, in the conversations I watch and the stuff you do, the lives, the videos, the way you're speaking to individuals, you're honest about what you value. You're honest about the things that are important to you in your life. And you're not fronting, boss.
No, man.
Ain't no posturing over here, man.
I want people to understand that sometimes you're in a dark place. I'm not going to tell you it's okay to not be okay, right? I'm going to tell you that people tell you all the time, take it day by day. That didn't work for me. I had to take it hour by hour. There was even points where it was taken minute by minute. So, day by day, that's too much, right? You really got to focus on, those valuable minutes. And if you take it minute by minute, you can gradually get to the hour by hour and then get to the day by day, and if you could be better today, if you could be a better person today than you were yesterday, that's growth. Be a better man or better woman this week than you were last week. That's all you can ask for, right? A bank account, you want it to grow. Some people 3%, 5%, 10%, whatever it is. Use that in how you treat people, how you, as a person, who you are in life, whatever aspect that may be in. Try to be a better person today than you were yesterday. And if you have a little bit of growth each time, man, it's fucking amazing, because I don't look 50. When I was like up to like 6 months ago, I was still dyeing my beard, not embracing the gray and whatever, and people would think I was 37 or nothing, right? You should be surprised how fast 40 to 50, flew by. I feel 90, right? Because of all the things that I've done. But more importantly now that I invested in myself and being better, it's not some fake mindset. It's not some con. It's not something. It's not about you giving money or about anything else. It's just stopping the arguments. Stop wasting your time explaining yourself. Stop doing certain things. Prioritize who's important, who isn't. If your boys are mad at you because you're out with your girl or out with your family, fuck them. Be a better person every day, little by little. How could you go wrong?
Word. How could you go wrong? How does everybody get in contact with you? It's mad easy.
I mean, yeah, Ben Baller on everything pretty much. I don't run any of my business pages. That's not it. You know what? It's crazy. I never thought about putting out there because it gets bad, but it's not as bad as I thought it was because I can get 300 DMs in a day, even up to 1,000, right? But I have this email that people reach out because I have an agent, I have a manager, I have all this. But there's a free-for-all email that I do check about once a week, and it's bbdtc213@gmail.com. Obviously, the acronym BBDTC stands for Ben Baller Did the Chain. But BBDTC213 because the LA area code, original area code, at gmail.com. And once in a while, I get some surprising things. I actually get less hate on there than anything. I don't really get bad things, but people hit me up like, hey,
Right.
man, I'm going through this. I'm not a therapist in any which way, whatever, but maybe there's a similar story. I don't know. But my podcast really speaks about, game, about life game. Like, I'm not selling shit. When I do a collaboration, it's obviously for a monetary gain to get my brand out there and show people that it's possible.
Word.
And other than that, yeah, man,
Well, listen, you already know. I didn't have you on here because I like you. I had you on here because you Ben Baller, dog.
Yeah.
But nah, man, thank you, brother. Like I learned about you.
Yeah.
It's been you. Man, I'm proud to call you a friend of mine, dog.
No, same,
and I'm
same,
proud
same.
to watch you
Same.
grow and yeah, man, you the illest. You one of the illest to ever do it, dog.
Thank you very much. Let me say this real quick. I know we've ended the show. He may not be ready for this, and it's not a funny
I don't
thing.
even know what the fuck.
This ain't even a funny thing. This is
Okay.
this is probably a fucked up thing, but I want to say it.
All right.
April of last year, I was looking at an $8 million house. It was Kenya Barris's house. Kenya Barris is an enormous producer here and there. He's my neighbor. And we're like, yo, let's buy a nice house. Let's look at this, whatever. We're on the fence. There are some things we didn't like. There'd be a lot. It would put us in a weird situation, not financially, but it was just it would be a lot more to take. I was like, could we do this? Whatever, boom. I had not foreseen where we are financially now as far as the world, but me and Nicolette are inside the house. This dude is very pushy, the real estate agent.
Yeah.
My agent's with me, representing us. Looking at the house. Now we're checking everything out. I have some missed calls. I'm not paying attention. I get a phone call. And I find out that Nedick had passed.
Yeah.
Right there at that moment. The guy goes, so would you like to make an offer on the house? And I said, no. And he goes, you want to think about it? I said, I can't even talk right now. And then Nick goes, that was really rude. Like, what's going on? And I was like, we have to go. She goes, it's 50-50 when she knows how serious I am.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, hey, what's fucking going on?
Of course, yeah.
And she goes, what's up? And I was like, we have to go. So, okay, this definitely ain't like him fucking around. This ain't like he lost $10,000 or, his car got dented. This was something way deeper. The door closes. I'm like, Nick, Nedick was murdered last night. And she goes, what? I don't know how good these cameras are. You do see how severe these goosebumps are on my arm, right? Called 3-4 people, this, that, whatever. I'm just fucking flipped out. I don't know if you maybe picked up for a second here and there. I'm trying to process it all and everything else, whatever. 2 lessons. Thank fucking God we didn't buy that fucking house, right? And I might have been talked into it, right? And Nedick was always very positive about us, and we're gonna come out here, boom, all this stuff, whatever. That was such a deeper sign. That was one thing right then and there, right? And then, obviously, it stopped. Like, of course, who would have known? She had filed a divorce exactly a year from that date. Like, what if we bought that house?
Life be giving you the shit.
Right? So I thought about it and was like, Keen, man, I love you. Like, in some weird way, you looked out for me.
He stayed looking out, right?
You looked out for me on some, like, wow, bro. Like, it was like and then I remember going into the man cave. That pissed her off because I didn't embrace whatever, and she was obviously going through her thing, and she was tripped out. I wrote an amazing passage. I've been waiting 11 years to use the word probity, I think, I'm sorry. And it was like a man of great, it was funny, and people were like, what the fuck? And it was such a fucking crazy thing. And I got in that room. I get a call from jail. One of Nelson's cellmates, my second cousin, hit me. I was like, yeah, Doug, I already know. And everything didn't matter, right? For some reason, I wanted Jamaican food. Don't ask me why. It was just a weird thing with the Bronx that me and that had. And it just, I thought about it once before today. But I was like, wow. Could you fucking imagine the mess I would have been in? And, like, could have been like, oh, well, no, maybe you should have been happier because it was such a crazy home. No, fuck that. That shit was doomed. It was fucked up. He saw it. I ain't a conspiracy theorist. You know what I'm saying? But
some things happen that are bigger than
it walked me out the house, bro.
Yeah.
So that's how you have to end this, because I love you and I miss you, and you saved me even more fucking shit, and man, more than you could ever know. I didn't even tell Nelson that story.
No, that's funny. It's very typical of bro. Bro's always.
The guy's like, well, you want to think about an offer? I was like, I don't want to think about nothing. I'm leaving. I have to leave right now. And the guy was like, what the fuck's going on? Can he not afford this? I gave no context.
Did you never go back? You never went back to
Never went back. Never got context or nothing. I just, at that point, it was such a fucked up thing.
Sorry, Kenya. That's why the shit didn't happen. Sorry.
Yeah.
My brother
It tainted that whole situation. Now, it didn't mean that I knew that there was going to be something wrong with marriage or whatever, but it was just something right then and there. It was the wrong. There's
the magnitude affected everything.
And I want people to understand this. Sometimes you're driving down the freeway, you hear a song, or you see a sign, and it fucking resonates so strong. You're like, oh my God, that is me. I hate to be this ain't negative. It's just be very optimistic. Sometimes that message isn't for you, though. And it may really depress you. This happened to be for me. This was deeper than just fucking seeing a thing saying, today, guys with green shirts, listening to this song and da-da-da. It's like everything. Oh my God, is this really? No. Keen was telling me right then and there, bro.
Get out
of that house, bro. And I never checked up on it. I didn't check anything, but it just during the process of now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro. That would have been like.
Yeah, it would have affected.
Because if you know what's going on with this thing now, I wouldn't have had that same situation here, right? Yeah. It would have been, been
totally different.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
No, absolutely. Thank you, man. Welcome to Profits and Process.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, brother.